And we back. Once again, it's me, the KNG. Let's talk about one of the most hot topics right now. Kendrick Lamar, part 5. To the heart. Right there. Kendrick Lamar, I applaud you, sir. I applaud you for not only the visual work, but the bars. The bars! They are superior, sir. You came with the lyrics and the bars, and you set the bar high. Then you came with the visual art, and it was superior as well. I mean, you talk about the deep fake. We'll get all into that, but the deep fake, putting somebody else's face on your face, and let's start from the beginning. I got notes, bitch. We will start with the opening. I am everybody. I believe it. This is me paraphrasing. I am all everybody, all of mankind, or some shit. Anyway, uh, so he talked about himself getting older and what he understands as he gets older. This is him talking to the listener, and we got to understand our brain is fully developed at 25 years old. 25. You know what I mean? And as he says this, you know what I mean? He's saying, I have a new um, perspective and perception. You know what I mean? As far as everybody has a different perception, everybody's different. We might not be wrong or right. It's just different. It is what it is. So he came with the live music, which I always love. Kendrick always comes with that live music. He does what he do. The live music adds something to your soul. You know, it's that funk. You know what I mean? It's really cherry on top. Now, as most people did, hearing part 5, we went back and listened to all of the other parts, right? And these parts were mixtape, mixtape, and not really on his studio album. So this was the mixtape coming into the studio, and Kendrick definitely did something that most rappers don't do. They keep the mixtape artist separate from the studio artist, so that I don't know. You might be more. Uh, you might have a more pop sound or something more radio friendly, or club specials, things like that, things you can turn up on, what was it, bitch don't kill my vibe, be humble, sit down, bitch. Anyway, so this was definitely him bringing over something that his true fans that listen to him um, on his underground, that don't just listen when he's at the top of his peak and mainstream and cutting through everything. He is still has that underground gully to him that he was really thanking his fans as well for being with him, riding with him, and being along for a journey. So as we dive into the motherfucking waters deep, refreshing, cool. Shout out to that nigga, right? I don't know who you are, but I remember those openings. It was very refreshing. Anyway, we're on Kendrick Lamar right now. The first thing I definitely wanted to touch on was the 25 years older, to listen and to have your perspective. right? Because you need to have a perspective of wisdom, and wisdom comes with not only age but experience. So, because you've experienced things, normally you've had time to age and mature, and you have wisdom, so your perspective is different, and that really, shows up in this artistic narration that he's painting. So, the first verse goes into culture. Culture, in my opinion, is personal identity, right? How someone personally identifies with what culture is. So, culture is an umbrella, right? Thoughts and beliefs and morals and things of that nature is an umbrella of what you're in. I'm in the culture, and I follow these sets of standards and rules and regulations, right? Now, he goes into what the culture is. He talks about generation, what the generational culture is. He goes into um, what the prison culture is. He also goes into, in this first verse, the culture of violence, the culture of, you know, getting back at somebody who's done dirt on you. This is the street culture, the code, and basically the people in poverty. What is the poor culture? You know what I mean? And it's not aggro, because ain't nobody poor growing no crops. They need to stop. Okay, why you going to you EBTing it up when you could be tilling that field, bitch? Anywho, uh, so definitely that first verse set the groundwork. It also had definite lyrics and bars that was serious, and I really enjoyed it. Um, but he definitely set the stage for what culture is, and going over how the culture is not beneficial to the people living in the culture. The culture has detriments. The culture has potholes or pitfalls. Whether it's your baby mom's getting smashed when you go off to prison, or somebody retaliating for beef once you got out of prison. You know what I mean? So everything in the culture is to our demise, and so it was kind of alluding to. Now, in that second motherfucking verse, we had where he changed his face, the deep fake, right? Changing that face out. Now, he changed his face to O.J. Simpson, Kanye West, Jussie Smollett, Will Smith, fuck Will Smith, fuck his wife, and fuck all of them. The DJ cool, the DJ dude cool. He also changed into Kobe Bryant and Nipsey Hussle. Now, um, it was very poignant on the way he transitioned and the lyrics that he said as he was transitioning, or what he was saying while he was in that transition. So, OJ, you know, was the opening. It was just a shock value. Now, OJ is definitely USC very own. First black athlete in commercials, paving the way. Setting the stage for what is today a profitable endeavor and collaboration. So without OJ, it wouldn't be a lot. And I think he might have wanted to do Bill Cosby, but made straight away from it. I say that because I listened to the first four of the parts as well, and he mentioned Bill Cosby in one of them. Now, in Kanye West's transformation, he said, "I have a friend that's bipolar," and Kanye West came up. So, you know, talking about mental health conditions in our community and our culture, and how we deem them or push them aside crazy, blah, 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 not listening to them, what have you. Now, my light's gonna cut off in a minute. Y'all bear with me. It's getting deep in this motherfucker. And the further we go down, the less the light shows. Ooh, bars. But we're not there yet. So, Jesse Smollett, he said, the streets don't fuck with me when he changed into Jesse Smollett, right? So now you had Jesse Smollett having an issue with um, a street altercation where people, were committing supposed racial hate crimes or whatever, but it was in the street. So he put that in there. Now we get to Will Smith, and Will Smith, he has the point of saying, um, hurt people hurt people. So if we know the Will Smith saga scenario that's going on with his relationship um, with his wife, it seems like it is a more toxic relationship, but that is a microcosm of the larger picture of hurt people, hurting people, people that have been hurt generationally, systematically, are now hurting each other, and there needs to be a therapy session instead of a quote unquote cultural acceptance. You know what I mean? That's what he said. Fuck culture. Because people are accepting this as part of our culture. Oh, he's just hurt. Who hurt you? This is all the things that people talk about. You know what I mean? When something's out of pocket, out of line, people always say, "Who hurt you?" Oh my goodness, you've been hurt. Shout out to, or I guess R.I.P. to Kevin Samuels. They were saying that a lot about him. But that is one of the things that he mentioned. Now, he also transitioned to a few others, but that was in the third verse. So we'll try to touch on that on the third verse. Now, in the second verse, he made mention to uh, Black Panthers and COINTELPRO, um, which, if you don't know about COINTELPRO, it was the infiltration of FBI and putting in moles and people to um, distract, destroy, and disseminate information from the organization to the FBI. You have people like Angela Davis that were um, put on trial, and you have people that are leaving the country due to political issues that they are being faced with. No violence and crimes or anything, but they have been political refugees, right? And while they were out in another country, other leaders in this revolutionary era that Black Panther, um, late 70s, or not late 70s but early 70s scenario, when people were stirring up and wanting to change after the civil rights era. The leaders were dying. They were being targeted. They were dying off. And he mentioned, my peers were dying while I'm overseas. You know what I mean? And that just shows that how deep this is. You know what I mean? And how he's really showing you your enemy. While hurt people, they don't see through their perception what's really going on. You know what I mean? We can't find a common ground because we're bickering and arguing with each other. And every time someone rises up to galvanize us, to bring us together, they are then targeted and exiled with the bullet, not the ballot. Uh, Put your lights out. Niggas got candles and holders. Anyway, so now, today, this is the third verse. He was made a mention to uh, innocence, right? And not innocence, but inner lessons. And inner lessons sounds like adolescence, which sounds like youth. And that youth is pretty much hip hop culture, right? Hip hop culture is ran by the youth, people that are below um, 25 and don't have a full mental or their brain hasn't mentally matured or fully developed in a way that they can uh, perceive or have a perception that that can be fully understood and grasped, right? So it's just like um, you haven't had your inner lessons. You haven't gone inside yourself to see who you actually are, knowledge of self, but you have a adolescence, which is um, you lashing out, you having tantrums and fits, you wanting something without putting the work in. You know, all these things of the youth that then are pumped in the music and given to other youth to, you know, influence them to do the things that youth do instead of having a mentor guidance. It's the blind leading the blind, or the young leading the young, and then you know what happens there. The Lord of the Flies. You just have a bunch of people's heads on spikes, uh, you know, and we understand what that means when you got that pole. You feel me? You're not running to the poles, you're running with the pole. Or maybe you do a walk up. These are bars. But now, he talks about, um, he paints a picture of heaven, right? He gives a description of heaven, a heaven representation in this third verse, right? And the the death kind of monologue that he goes into. It's not his first time doing it in these particular parts that he's had. So this is not his first one, but this was one of his most notable ones because of him using Nipsey Hussle. Now, in this particular third verse, he went into the face swap with Kobe Bryant and Nipsey Hussle, two of our fallen soldiers, two men who were actually uh, galvanizing people in their community, being that they were black and also leaders. Now, and it might not be the civil rights leader, might not be a Black Panther leader, but it didn't need to be at this point. It just needed to be someone who could set the stage for what change could be, like Mamba mentality. You know what I mean? Like that. If that was still going on, you know, that could be an example that kids younger than 25 look to and find guidance in. You know, work hard work ethic, and Nipsey definitely was marathon man. You know, doing everything from crypto to getting studios for podcasts, you know, and other, you know, social medias and different design and things of that nature. Knowing that the wave of the future is in technology and is on the internet, he was putting people in place and putting foundations in his community in order to thrive for years to come. So both of those were targets for a COINTELPRO that he talked about in the first, in the second verse. He talked about this being a continuous, reoccurring cycle. And now he goes into heaven where two of the quote unquote leaders of the new school um, were. He didn't quote that. He didn't say they were leaders. I'm saying they are leaders. I'm saying that they're leaders, and their leadership made them a target. So I believe, as always, um, there was an agenda to kill Kobe, and definitely likewise with Nipsey. Nothing is nothing is by coincidence, by chance, and he mentioned that in his song as well. It was by design, right? So he talked about uh, being in heaven after saying what heaven was. So he gave a description of what heaven is, and then he said, I'm in heaven, and I can hug you without the physical. You know what I mean? And he was talking about making a better generation, um, as he alluded to in the first uh, part. What is the generation of the culture, or what is the culture of this generation, and how do we make a better generation, making a better culture, right? And what he says is unity above all else, right? Unity above all is how we make this better culture, uh, to make a better generation. And yeah, so this right here, um, definitely deep. I want to hear your words. I don't want to ramble on anymore about what I got going on here, but I definitely wanted to put my take on it. I think this is the full breakdown of it. You know, I didn't really give many quotes from it, but if you listen to it like I did all damn day and night, yeah, I listened to it for a while, and this is what I gleaned from it. Definitely, that first verse being what is the current culture. The second verse, um, how they target those influential black men, especially, um, whether it's defamation of character or, you know, defamation of masculinity. Um, so then the third verse goes into changing the culture, appreciating the fallen soldiers, and showing that they are in heaven based on the good that they did for their community, the good that they did for their culture, and how we should replicate and emulate those great men. So, if you think I did great, share the goddamn video. If you don't think I did so great, hit me with a thumbs down, bitch. But if not, hit me with a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. This is me, KMG. Signing out. Till the next time. Peace.